This is the first God of War, and we're gonna check out the mocap and kind of behind the scenes stuff. I want to dive into this because I've done a lot of mocap acting myself. I do a lot of motion capture cleanup at my job, and I did a lot of motion capture cleanup on God of War Ragnarok. So let's check this out. The main actor of Kratos.
Mm-hmm. So this is the opportunity to get notes over to the actors, to dial in all the performances.
So a lot of times they will, now they don't do this. I shouldn't say a lot of times because they rarely do this, but sometimes they will act out the whole performance and get the performance down first, and then they will capture it in mocap because they don't want to spend a bunch of time capturing something that isn't acted perfectly, you know?
Also to
All right.
work out where all our props are going to be.
If you look at the prop he's using a foam sword. See this? A foam axe. And when I was working on the game for God of War Ragnarok, they did that too. They had like a foam sword, and it created a lot of problems for me later as the animator to make it feel like it wasn't like wobbling all over the place. I had to hand animate that a lot to fix that of what they captured on stage.
Everything I never wanted you to be.
Wow.
Run.
Run.
Far away from me.
His voice is so cool.
But you have changed. You're not a monster.
That is exactly what I am.
Not to me.
Oh, wow. See, this is a good performance.
You will fail. How you deal with it is what makes you stronger.
Ooh, this kid's wise.
My father taught me that.
Nice, look at this. Look, these actors take this stuff very seriously and give great performances. Yeah, Ghost, we're jumping into some reactions.
Yeah, so when we saw this, we knew
Lead the way.
we had the right people.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, you need to have a connection between these actors. They really need to vibe correctly on stage, just like in a movie. And so it's really important for them to kind of have their performances feel natural and feel like they're kind of like delivering something that is real, right? And so
Felt like Kratos in the trailer.
sometimes they will cast all kinds of different actors to find the right one, just like a movie.
As it is. They were the right height. And then that made the cleanup process and adjustment process a lot simpler once we did the motion capture.
So this is a
Hey,
World of
wait a
Warcraft
minute.
hardcore randomizer. All your abilities and talents are random, and you only get one life. Let's see how far we get.
Okay, here we go.
So here's an example of us shooting a scene. Corey is back there with the writers overseeing the scene delivery.
And this girl way over here in the back is one of the lead gameplay animators, I believe. If you look closely at this, they have a mannequin kind of propped up here. And not only do they have this like sort of mannequin being faked, see how it's stuffed with a bunch of foam and whatnot to look like a dead body or something? This is a motion capture suit, actually. So if this gets moved around and jiggled and stuff, this is actually going to get captured and move in game. This is very, very, very smart.
And we get to see everything through Motion Builder as it's being shot. So as you can see, this is a careful, rehearsed dance between the actors and Dory to ensure that we hit the beats accurately.
Yeah.
And our goal is to do it all in one take.
Yeah, it is. This is really funny. Their goal is to do it all in one take, but they rarely do. One of my biggest jobs on God of War Ragnarok was marrying all these performances together because they didn't perform the whole thing in one take. So I had to like combine all these takes together to give it one big giant performance, you know? Yeah, you can see it up here on the top of the screen inside the motion capture stage where you can see
And it
Kratos
became
moving.
apparent early on after we brought Sonny in. This is One time we were just at the stage, started messing around. I might have said to hit play on the recording, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But yeah, definitely this kind of childlike movement. You're not going to get this from an actor, from an adult actor. It'll be a lot tougher. It'll be a lot tougher for sure. So this is why it was important for us to bring in Sonny and to work with him.
They had to make a custom suit for him though. Oh. Look at this. See the mocap? Oh, so let me pull this back here. If you look closely at this right here, when he does this motion and lands on the ground, the actual motion capture is like wiggling all over the place. Watch. See that? And that's a lot of the stuff of what we clean up as animators, is that like weird jiggly movement in the mocap, because it can look really strange.
Yes. So HR didn't know a lot of this stuff was coming on upstairs.
This is cool. Check this out.
We would have had to sign all kinds of waivers. But yeah, we liked it so much that we ended up getting a second suit so that we can do these kind of like paired up moves.
Look. See, this is how they can rough everything out and get a gist of before they actually do the animation, before they actually get like an actor and paid like performer. Oh, look at this, dude. Oh, dude, this is awesome. Oh. This is great. Look, he's like made his own little dummy right here that he can attack with. He has like a plastic axe. This is great. Look, he even has an arm, a fake arm that he's slapping the guy with. Oh, dude, this is great.
Recording sort of the motions that we needed to capture. He's just kind of demoing for Eric ahead of him coming into the studio. And then we brought Eric in and we just spent an entire day rehearsing.
Wow, look at Eric, this guy that's doing the actual performance. He's really good.
Practicing move, just
so
that we would have this footage ready to go once we went over to the mocap stage. So here's an example of a move going through every step. So this is James Previs. Then we bring Eric in.
See, that's cool, dude. He really amps up the entire performance, the actor. Look at that.
That's exactly what to do.
Yeah, he does an incredible job.
Focus on the quality of the movement rather than the idea.
Whoa, dude, that's badass.
And this is after it's been polished and enhanced by our animation team.
That was dope, dude. That was dope.
So this is Erica Pinto, our lead cinematics animator.
Right here.
And Mehdi Youssef, our lead gameplay animator.
There we go.
So we decided to go on stage ourselves and shoot a scene. So the intro, there's a moment in the game where this guy comes through the door and attacks Kratos and Atreus. So I was Kratos, Mehdi was the ogre.
Oh, this is cool.
Erica is Atreus in this case. And I just realized that Mehdi is actually holding a cell phone. So I don't know why an ogre would need a cell phone, but yeah. He's just
I love that.
Snuck in there. So what we did in order to approach this, because another part of the mandate was to do this as a one-take game, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a later slide. We decided to go and shoot this in live action first.
Yeah, that's smart to shoot this in live action. Like, to block this all out just by filming it first before you make the game is really smart.
Rehearse it and really rehearse it over and over and over and over. And then before we took it to the stage. So I'll just show you this video and walk you through it.
Nice.
This is the footage of us rehearsing the whole scene. Yeah, we had to get creative with the scale, with the sizes to represent the sizes as best as possible.
Look at this.
That was definitely fun and challenging. Now, this is the footage, the video footage feed that was on stage. You see the scene being shot in Motion Builder, the Motion Builder feed.
Yeah.
Now,
Look at
the
this.
tricky thing about this scene is that even though everything looks lined up with the camera, the characters are interacting, they were all different sizes. So
Yeah, this is a really hard thing to do when you have motion capture from like a big giant character trying to be like, when you have motion from a little human, not a little human, but just a normal sized person, and you're trying to put that onto a giant character, you're going to get weird stuff on there.
so when we got to the stage, we
See
had
that?
to deal with it.
Yeah.
We actually had to shoot the scene in separate spaces so that the scale, in relative world space.
Yeah.
And we had to rehearse it in a way that we were interacting with each other, but apart from each other.
Oh man,
Now,
that's
as
tough.
you can see there, Dory, who's our director
See how they're all acting independently from each other, but acting like they're actually there? It's really hard to do.
of photography, is holding a marker. This is before we had a virtual camera.
Oh,
And
wow.
he was actually walking around, pointing the marker and looking at
Over
the
here, see this guy?
screens up on top to get his framing right, so that he can frame all three of us. So he was
Wow.
using Kratos as the anchor.
Oh, look how it came out.
Let him go!
Holy shit. Oh, this is so dope, dude. Oh, wow. Look at this. Oh. Come on, you guys. This is badass. See, this goes to show you how much extra work goes after the fact and what goes into it. There's a lot more work that goes into these things that people realize, man.
It went a little bit up to our heads, but then after doing a full day of shooting, we realized that we can't do this.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. This is harder than you think, man. After a day of doing mocap, you are exhausted.
We need experts. We need professionals to help us do this. But
Because, dude, here's the thing. We sit all day in a fucking computer, and we're like, streamer style people. All we do is work all day on the computer. And so when you take a person like that and you throw them in a mocap suit and you have them jumping and running around and attacking people all day, oh my God, you get hardcore exhausted, dude.
it was great to at least go through that process once and and figure out how it all works. The other method was we were fortunate enough to have a small motion capture space also within our studio, where we could do previs, we could do just simple motions before we went over to the main stage. So there were situations where we needed to previs characters interacting with the environment or interacting with certain creatures that we just needed to do
Whoa,
in 3D.
look at this.
So yeah, that's
Look at this.
we needed to figure out the scale of this boar. We need to figure out where Freya was going to be interacting
Why does it say Mafia game videos up there?
on the shelves, where the characters need to be standing and placed. And then finally, my favorite way of doing previs
Look at that apple.
was live action,
What the fuck?
where the animators had an opportunity to have a bit of fun. And this is just one of the previous scenes that we did out of many, many scenes. Then go outside, go upstairs, shoot a couple of scenes very quickly,
Yeah.
show them to the director, get feedback, and within the same day we can go shoot them again.
Nice.
And if
Yep.
we had more feedback after that, we could shoot it again. And then it was just cost effective. And
I hope they never use AI on God of War games as well. Same with Rockstar. I hope they never do. But I could understand them doing it for dialogue like the other guy was saying in chat. But I hope that these games, these big games that are crafted from all these passionate people, that it doesn't get watered down by AI,
and the speed of it was great. And on top of that, we had to have a lot of fun.
That was something, that fight. Catch. Oh, that was a perfectly good waste of an apple.
How are you not seen? There is nowhere to hide up here.
It's a trick my people have. A special way of not being seen.
You can turn invisible?
More like I can step into the realm between realms.
See, look how much effort goes into before they even do anything. These guys are all acting out this stuff. This takes so many hours. This is why games take so long. Look how long it takes to plan it out, let alone do the mocap and the actual animation.
And your mind can't understand what it sees, so it actually sees nothing at all. It's how we avoid using the weapons that we actually craft. But it doesn't seem to work on dragons, though.
Your brother wanted to know if you're eating well. I can tell him that you are.
Brock asked about me. Was there mead on his breath? You let him work on this again?
Wow, this is a big scene.
Come on.
A lot of God of
So
War
we
scenes
have
are
a couple
huge.
of dwarf characters in our game. So if you're wondering why this walking around on his knees, that's why. So we can get the scale approximation right. We did a lot of table reads.
Wow,
They
look
would
at
like
this.
in the morning, get everybody together on the same page.
See, like, look how much work goes into this. So many people just don't realize the background of gaming. This is why I wanted to show a video like this and talk about it, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people just never see.
Read the script, get everything planned out. And here's some examples of some of the early keyframe animation that we did from the previous games. As you can see, the moves are a little bit more arcadey, over the top. Often we, especially with the blades, we could just create massive arcs where we didn't have to worry about the camera. And often we defied the laws of gravity.
Well, yeah, when you don't mocap something, it's hard to make it look realistic.
But once we moved into motion capture, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about the process because we hadn't really used it for combat before.
And if you look right here in this pose, his hand's not even on the weapon because it's hard to get into that position sometimes.
So here's an example of a move.
Oh, this is cool. Wow, look what they did.
This is data from footage from the
Oh.
capture stage. This is the data. As you can see, it got us about 80% of the way, right? And then our animation team would go in and enhance it. At 60, they're actually exported with a lot more frames, because then once we get into the game, the fidelity of the chain blades would be a
Oh,
lot
looks
better.
so
That's
good,
why we
dude.
had to export those with a little bit higher frame rate. This is some of the first bit of data. So yeah, this is exclusive, Kratos killing Kratos. And like as you can see, the axe was just a basic axe. There was nothing fancy about it. It was meant to be just this really gritty game. The moves were supposed to be very grounded and methodical and not
So badass, dude.
not very magical at first, because the game direction was to be a lot grittier. But as we play tested and we moved forward, we discovered that, hey, we need to kind of inject back a little bit of the old God of War games into it. So here's another pass at an early animation where we started like getting a little bit more of that old Kratos movement back. One of the things you notice is that he's actually throwing the axe.
Ooh, that animation looks good.
This is when we started
Whoever
introducing
animated
the
that.
magical nature of the moves.
Ooh,
But
that's really
they were
good.
going to be part of the
Wow.
combo originally. So before they were just going to be button presses and the axe would come out and fly out and hit the enemies and come back automatically. But we particularly had to focus on making it look good from a new camera perspective.
Love
so
it.
You can see we pulled in the chains way more than they used to be. It was meant to just read enough with the camera, but still retain the same feeling from the old games.
And it does. They did a good job on that, dude. Look at that.
And here's some examples
Wow.
of how both the axe and the blades look from the new camera perspective. So the concept art team started working on that.
Look at that.
As you can see, this is very some early concept.
It looks awesome. Look at the early concept of Kratos on the right, left here. Whoa, I love it.
Where they started taking inspiration from the previous games and the way that he looked. I started adding the beard, adding the Norse motifs.
Super sick, dude.
And as you can see, he has a bit more of a human proportions, a little bit closer to a more relatable human.
Yeah, that's true. He's not like bulked up like, how he is now in the game. And he looks kind of, reserved. He doesn't look huge.
Even his weapon, as you can see at the early stages, it wasn't a magical axe. It was just a simple weapon that he was to use. The direction of the game early on was very grounded. It was meant to be a lot more realistic. And in the early beginnings, as I will show you, some of the early animation was very grounded and more not as sort of over the top as it ended up being.
Well, God, he's taking a long time just to explain that In the past, they used to have him just swing the axe, and now he has mythical, you know, magical abilities.
Here's a shot of the 3D model as it was making progress.
That looks
this
great.
is around the time of the E3 reveal in 2016. The first time that we showed Kratos to the
That
public.
looks so sick,
Kratos,
bro.
Emerging from the shadows. So as you can see already, he was starting to feel a little more human, you know, than how we previously depicted him.
I like it. It looks good with him being skinny like that. Not skinny, but not huge. That was great stuff, dude. That's the end of the video. That was cool. Holy shit, dude. Right on. It was great to see the behind the scenes on that game. You know, I never worked on the first God of War, so it was kind of cool to see their process and how we did it differently on God of War Ragnarok, right? So a lot of the stuff that they did on the first God of War here, at least the one in 2018, they they had to do some old school techniques and a lot of, you know, that game was made the old school way. I really like seeing that behind the scenes because games are getting made a lot differently now. Facial capture, all this stuff has improved so much with MetaHuman and all these different capturing technologies and different stuff. So it's changed the way we make games. And on this one, it's a more old school approach because it was years ago. And it was what in 2000 probably 13 when they started making the game. So it's really cool to see behind the scenes on that stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it because it's cool to deep dive into this shit. I love it. I love making games. It's such a huge passion of mine, and it's fun to see what other developers do or other people do, and it's just badass, dude. Love this stuff, dude. Holy shit. So, thank you so much for your time and support. If you are new here, I do streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. So come join us. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.